Hi, what's up people? Mr. Highway here. We continue our series on the 2020 O-Level A-Maths Paper 2 and now we are on question 9. Okay, before we start, I must tell you that I really messed up this one. It was not an easy question, it's quite difficult. In fact, I would say that I didn't do well for this paper because of this question. Right? Because it took up so much of my time that I didn't have time to check the rest of the paper, which is something I would normally do. But that's my fault, okay? I allowed myself to spend too much time here. My mistake. So then there's a lot that you can learn from it as we go through my mistakes. So put on your seatbelts, let's go for a ride through my mistakes. Unlike all my other questions, this one, when you can't do the question, you're going to write a lot of working and all the math, okay? So we'll start on a clean slate first to give you an idea of how the question should be done if it's done correctly. And then we will look through my mistakes. So to start off, we have this diagram here. It shows a parallelogram with vertices A, B, C, D. A is given, B is given. There's a point E here that lies on the diagonal BD. The perimeter of the parallelogram is 46 units. So you have all this information, and then part 1, it says that show that the coordinates of point D satisfies the equation 5x squared plus 6x is equals to 11. Wow, okay, I don't think I've seen this before. It's phrased pretty differently from everything I've seen. But, well, that is usually going to induce some panic, right? So the first thing to do is always to take the information that's given and kind of fit it in and see how they make sense. Now we want to find the coordinates of D, right? Even though if it's just x coordinate of D. When you want to find x coordinates, most of the time it's going to be simultaneous equations. Immediately I can see that I have 2 points here. I got point B, I got point E. I can find the equation of BE. That will be one equation already. Then the next question is, how do I get the other equation, right? So let's get the easy thing done first, okay? Let's find the equation of BE. So let's first find the gradient of BE. M of BE is equals to y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So you have 1 over negative 2, isn't it? So that's negative half. Then we say that the equation of BE is equals to y minus y1, let's use the point, this one, 6, is equals to gradient, negative half, x minus 5. Okay, so y is equals to negative half x. This one is positive 5 over 2 plus 6, 17 over 2. Okay, so just write 17 over 2. Alright, so we have the equation of BE. The next question is, how do we get the other equation? It lies here, this information. It says that the perimeter of the parallelogram is 46 units. It's length information, isn't it? So we know that this is a parallelogram. So this length is equals to this, and this length is equals to this, right? So, well, I see it here now. We have this length that can be found. So let's find it. We find the length of AB. That's equals to the square root of x2 minus x1 squared plus y2 minus y1 squared. This is a minus negative, so we get a plus here. 7 plus 5 is 12. 12 squared is 144. Then we have a 144 plus 5 squared is 25. So that's actually square root of 169, which is 13 units. Okay, this is 13. This is a parallelogram, so the opposite side is 13 as well. The perimeter is 46, so 46 minus 13 is 20. We divide that by 2, we get 10 on each side here. We are interested in point D, which means that the length that we should be interested in is either AD or CD, right? Well, A, we at least have this one coordinate here, so we're going to use that. CD, not so useful. Okay, so I'm going to say now that the length of AD is equals to, we let D's coordinates be x and y, okay? So then the length of AD would be x minus negative 5, which is x plus 5, bracket square, plus y minus 0 bracket square. And we know that to be 10, isn't it? So I'm going to square both sides. AD is 10, but then I get the square here. Is equals to, I'll expand this in the brackets. We have x squared plus 2 times 5 is 10, 10x, plus 5 squared is 25, plus y squared. So everything to one side, we have x squared plus y squared plus 10x. This is 100, you bring over, you get a negative. Negative 100 plus 25 is minus 75 is equals to 0. Alright, so there we have it. This is equation 1, this is equation 2. And we just have to solve simultaneously and we should be able to get this equation. So I write here, sub equation 1 into 2 x squared plus negative half x plus 17 over 2 squared plus 10x minus 75 is equals to 0. Expand this, we have x squared plus 1/4 plus 17 over 2x. I'm going to square the 17 over 2. 17 squared is 289. 2 squared is 4, and then we have x squared. Wait, what? Oh, sorry. The x squared is supposed to be here. I caught myself because I'm always mindful that in this a plus b bracket square, I get an x squared term, an x term, and a constant term. Okay, so that's always very important to bear in mind. So if you don't see it, right, you know immediately something is wrong. Plus 10x minus 75 is equals to 0. Now we will multiply throughout by 4 to get rid of the 4 denominator. We have 4x squared plus x squared plus 17 times 2 is 34, x plus 289 plus 10 times 4 is 40, x minus 300 is equals to 0. So here you have 4x squared plus x squared is 5x squared. 34x goes with 40x. Well, we see a 6 here. So instead of adding, they are supposed to subtract, isn't it? What went wrong? So I have a plus minus sign mistake. Okay, a minus b bracket squared. This is supposed to be negative. Yep, this is supposed to be negative. Okay, got it. So now, this is plus 6x. And then 289 minus 300 is negative 11, right? So you bring over is a plus 11. Well, that's it. It's shown. Yep. When you have your time to do it, you do it slowly, it's not that difficult. When under the pressure of time, it's a different ball game, right? So it really tests on how strong your foundations are and your mental computation power and ability to just do it perfectly without making mistakes. Yeah, that's really quite a test. Let's look at what I did in my attempt. Red is my original working, green is my marking. So I got 13 here and then I got 10s. Okay, I got this length here. So what went wrong was I actually got this one wrong, this one. Yeah, what happened? This was supposed to be 17 over 2, I got. Yep, so that's something I need to bear in mind. I think I can do addition, subtraction, fractions in head, but maybe I can't. I'm just going to avoid doing mental calculations and just be a good boy and take out my calculator and press it. Right, because that's my weakness, isn't it? Okay, if I consistently get this kind of mistakes, maybe I should just be extra careful to play it safe, right? In this particular area. Doesn't mean that I cannot, in areas that I'm always doing it correctly, yeah, sure, why not? Okay, but in this particular area, be extra careful. So that was one mistake. I got this other equation correct, but it's just over here. I'm missing, I had a 7 instead of 17, and that was it. So there's one more plus minus sign mistake. It's the same one that I did just now. Okay. And the other thing is actually it took me quite a while to figure out this method. So that also took a lot of time. Yeah, I should have ditched this question earlier on, but I actually, in fact, I did the entire paper pretty quickly, even when I reached here. So I thought, well, I have time, isn't it? But that's not the way to do it. You have to skip the question when you realize that you're stuck, okay? Which I actually did, but I felt that I don't know, I just didn't catch the mistake soon enough. Oh well. Part 2. Determine the coordinates of D, explaining why the diagram is necessary. What we had there just now was 5x squared plus 6x equals to 11. So all we need to do is just to solve this quadratic equation, bring everything to one side, and then factorize. So we have 5x squared, that's 5x times x. 11 you can't factorize, so I'm just going to put it here and 1, right? So 11 times 1 is 11. 11 minus 5 is 6, so that's great. We want a positive 6, so that's positive 11 minus 5. Okay, that's it. So x is equals to negative 11 over 5, or x is equals to 1. We got the coordinates of D, it's one of these two. Which one is it? Well, we can see that the D is to the right of the y-axis, so that means it's this one. We reject this. Coordinates means you need the y coordinates as well, so I'm just going to sub this into the equation of BE. Sub x equals to 1 into equation of BE. So we have y equals to negative half x plus 17 over 2. The x is 1, right? Yep. So we just have to get 16 over 2 is 8. So y is equals to 8. So therefore, coordinates of D would be 1 and 8. Write a little statement to explain why the diagram is necessary. The diagram shows that D is on the right of the y-axis, so we know that the x-coordinate is positive, and thus only x equals to 1 is valid, and not x equals to negative 11 over 5. Yep, that's it. Maybe I could have given up that 7 marks, and I could have just solved this, isn't it? Because I could have gotten the equation of BE, in which case I will still be able to get the y coordinate here. Okay, I should have just proceeded, you know, even if I skip part 1. That's 7 marks. Okay, and if I actually found the equation of BE, I should at least get 1 or 2, isn't it? And if I found out that the AD is 10, then I should get 1 more mark, you know. So that might have been a good deal to have to give up, like what, 4 marks? Instead of spending like half an hour, which is very, very expensive in an exam, okay? Yeah, which is what I did. So don't do what I did, learn from my mistakes. Part 3, find the coordinates of C. By the time I got here, I had very, very little time left, okay? So you can see my red writing is in the actual exam. The green one is correction. I wrote down the 4 coordinates here. It's actually very useful to do that, because when you do that, everything is there in one glance. You don't have to keep flipping your paper to search for information. The concept that we use here to find the coordinates of C would be that the 2 diagonals have a common midpoint. Okay, what this means is you have the line BD here. It's got a midpoint. The line AC also has a midpoint. It's the exact same thing. Okay, yeah. So we can find the midpoint of BD, which is 7, 1 and 5, 3. So you can see I did it here, midpoint of BD. 7 plus 1 divided by 2, and 5 plus 3 divided by 2. And so that's 4 and 4. Okay, the midpoint is 4, 4, but at the same time, if you say that C is P and Q, okay, which I let it be here, then the midpoint of AC will be this 2. So we have a negative 5 plus P divided by 2 will be the x coordinate of the midpoint, and 0 plus q divided by 2 will be the y coordinate of the midpoint. So we just set each one of these to be equals to 4. So from here I solved p to be equals to 13, q is equals to 8, and so the coordinates of C is 13 and 8. Oh, this is quite a question, right? is pretty tough. Even when I'm looking back at it, I wasn't doing it like perfectly, you know. First of all is that there are different possible strategies that could be used, and it's not clear which one it is, right? I could have used simultaneous, I could have used midpoint even earlier on, right? But then whatever it is, I didn't narrow it down quickly enough, and that led to my downfall, you know, in spending so much time there. And the other thing is I did some mistakes here in the calculation, careless mistakes, and that really stalled everything up. But on hindsight, even if this question was too difficult for me in the exam, I should have just abandoned it, okay? It's 7 marks, yes, but then I could have just taken that equation and then went on to the next part. I could have still salvaged the rest of the marks. And on hindsight, I should really have done my checking first, instead of you know, ending this paper with a lot of careless mistakes in the other questions that I didn't pick up because I didn't have time to check, okay? Yeah, so that's the mistake that I learned from this. Okay, I don't have to live with regret because this is just a practice paper for me, right? It's not my O-level exams. But for you, I think it's something for you to bear in mind and you can learn from it. I hope it helps you. So that's it for question 9. Wow, this is the toughest question I had so far in this paper. Right after this, I'm going to shoot the video for the next question, so keep a lookout for it. Like and subscribe. See you next time.